Okay, so what's up, everybody? It is June 30th, 2025, and I'm going to record this video here. It's number 16. If you go back to my upload on YouTube on what I believe is May 12th, you will see that I uploaded the story once before. It came out when I was just rambling about a lot of things at the time, so I'm going to try to knock it out again in like 10 minutes, just a simple version. I really wanted to have these stories done by the end of June, and I'm still catching up. So what happened was I think it was around September of 2022, right around there. Me and my partner at the time and two acquaintances, we were going to we were going to microdose. We were going to take mushrooms, and that's because one of our friends had never taken hallucinogenic mushrooms. And for me, I hadn't done it for like 10 years, and I don't know that my partner at the time had done it for a while. So we just kind of wanted to tap in, tune in, get it in the system, have a nice little light experience, and then go from there. So, we blessed everything, set everything for our highest best, set intentions, we cleared everything, and we set the space to have a really good experience. So we're all tapping in and we're doing our thing, and we're sitting on, I think it was the one back patio, and the three of them all start talking, and they're like working with this gold energy, and they're working with this molten energy, and they're in some, wherever they were, I don't even know where they were, and I was in my own world holding space, and I was somewhere other. And as I was thinking about where I was like, does this make sense? Is this real? Is this true? Why am I not with them? What are they talking about? But I often end up in a different place, right? In these group meditations and everything. And it's because I'm holding space for everybody and they're doing what they need to do, but everybody's holding space for me, and it's allowing me to go where I need to go, or my higher self is taking me. So all of a sudden, after looking around a bit and analyzing everything and tapping in, my partner at the time goes, Peter, are you with us? Are you here? Like, what are you doing? And I go, I am somewhere completely different. And she's like, well, where are you? And I go, I am in an underground military base. And they were like, what? I go, I am in a hallway that, turns on like a 45-degree angle or whatever. I go, there's overhead piping, and there's a lot of piping. I go, I have huge steel doors in front of me that don't open from my side, and they kind of just stop like a wall. I go, I'm looking at this old like linoleum floor that's sealed, and it's very clean, but you can tell it's very old, and you can tell it doesn't get a lot of traffic. I'm like, it is extremely quiet down here. I'm like, I can't hear anything beyond the doors. I go, but I feel like there's trouble. And if I were to get on the other side, I feel like I'm not supposed to be there. And it's something that's definitely, shut down or roped off or contained. And I felt like even though the hallway turned behind me and went down quite a ways, being around that corner, I felt somewhat safe, because anybody from 50 yards or whatever down is not going to see me unless they decide to come down and turn the corner, or if they hear something. So as I was looking around at the piping overhead and the two different colors on the walls, and the floor and the big steel doors, I had the impression and the feeling and the understanding that I was remote viewing an underground military base. And I say viewing because I was pretty much seeing everything from the top down, but then I could see parts of the ceiling at times with all the overhead piping and everything being exposed, and I could not see myself there physically. There were no limbs, no body, nothing like that. But I did feel worried that somebody could see me, or that I could be seen if they were coming down the hall and around the corner, or they heard me, or if those doors were to open up to my side and someone or something were to come through. So what happened was, and I don't remember the exact order of events, they decided, my partner at the time and her two friends, my two acquaintances, they were going to flood the underground military base with all this golden energy and molten plasma energy they were working with. And I was like, fine, do whatever you got to do. I had been pulled out and retracted, and it showed the underground military base in Oregon. and it showed a whole, like, what you would call like a map of a subway system or a train system, and how all these locations through the West Coast and the Southwest are all connected. And I was like, holy shit. It was showing me like the scope of it, right? Nothing I could ever draw right now, nothing I could ever explain or put down on paper. I was pulled out so fast and like such a high aerial view. It's like I was being shown all of this just to show it existed. I see some rain coming down. So that was that, and that was a trip. They flooded everything with the gold energy and the gold light or the gold source light and whatever it was. I myself, kind of came out of the meditation, and I was just like, what was that? Is my imagination? Am I thinking things? Why did that come to me? Why was I there? And this is another example of one of the many interesting metaphysical experiences that have happened when people are holding space for me, or the environment is containered, or in this case, right, taking mushrooms, small amounts of hallucinogenic mushrooms, and me or my higher self being able to travel. So all of a sudden we're all sitting there talking, and the one friend was like, oh my God, do you see that? Oh my God, there's a UFO. And I'm like, you're on drugs. I'm like, you're on mushrooms. And then like all three of them are talking, there it is, or it's cloaked, or look, it's right there. And I of course can't see anything, and I'm trying as hard as I can with my human eyes to see it, and I don't see anything. And I was a little bit dismissive at the time, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, you guys are just on mushrooms and you're all in your own world, and I'm not seeing anything like what you guys are seeing. So before you know it, I think they were talking about the UFO leaving or the UFO taking off, or it was gone. And as I was looking up into the sky, not all the trees and these 4- and 5-story trees, we had massive trees behind us in, St. Charles, Illinois, oaks and elms, just like what I grew up with in Elmhurst, Illinois. These trees were easily 4 stories tall, maybe even a little taller, I don't know, and they were huge. So they blacked out a lot of, our view of where we were looking in the backyard. But as I tilted back and looked, more vertical, straight up, and there was nighttime sky, and the sky was more of like a baby blue or dark blue from what I remember, I just saw this very shiny dot go through the sky. And I go, holy shit. And I'm like, that was just a satellite or the International Space Station. It was definitely not a plane to my knowledge, because it honestly looked like it had a bit of an arc to it. And it was so high, but so small and yet so bright. And it was either reflecting moonlight at the time, or it was just reflecting light from something other. And the speed at which it shot across the sky, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, maybe it is a satellite, because the US government, right, they have so many satellites and detection systems in space and in orbit looking for when UFOs show up or UAPs, and they're obviously trying to track it and shoot it down and get on top of it right away. And if I remember correctly, I think there were even some planes that were all of a sudden popping up in the sky and moving pretty fast. Now, granted, that home in St. Charles, Illinois was about 3 miles from the DuPage Airport, I think, roughly. So there's always a lot of air traffic over there. And we were always looking up, or there were times we could definitely hear it was a plane, let alone certain angles or trajectories or certain flight paths were coming in. But what I saw, the dot that was shooting through the sky and shooting past, could very easily probably have been the International Space Station, or it was a satellite, or it was something other. So this is UFO story number 16. I didn't exactly see a UFO, but I did see a UAP, something shooting across the sky. Our one friend, I think she had an app at the time, and she was looking things up to see if there were any, star clusters or meteors or satellites, in the area. Sorry, I got an allergy thing going on. I was hiking for 2 hours today. And I don't know that what I saw was a UFO, and I definitely didn't see the UFO they saw, but there was definitely a UAP shooting through the sky, and we were definitely, microdosing on mushrooms. So anything is possible. That's a little bit of my story. I know there's a lot more details in what I journaled. Holy shit, my journal's right here. I forgot I even left it in the car like a week ago or something. And let's see. I think I might just read this, and I know these people are going to get out of their car, so just give me a second.